About half of America's biggest cities saw another rise in violence the first quarter of this year, and so we're trying to lean forward and do what we've done in Wilmington in those places as well.
Well, we appreciate your efforts to support local law enforcement. Thank you, Director.
Senator Kennedy.
Morning, Mr. Director. This afternoon now. Assume for a second that I'm not a United States Senator and that I don't have a security clearance to look at classified information. If someone sends me classified information, and I know or should know it's classified information, and I read it, have I committed a crime?
Potentially.
Okay. Has the person who sent me the information committed a crime?
Potentially, if they knew you didn't have an appropriate clearance and a need to know.
Okay. Was there classified information on former Congressman Weiner's computer?
Yes.
Who sent it to him?
His then spouse, Huma Abedin, appears to have had a regular practice of forwarding emails to him, for him, I think, to print out for her so she could then deliver them to the Secretary of State.
Did former Congressman Weiner read the classified material?
I don't think so. I think I don't think we've been able to interview him because he has pending criminal problems of other sorts. But my understanding is that his role would be to print them out as a matter of convenience.
If he did read them, would he have committed a crime?
Potentially.
Would his spouse have committed a crime?
Again, potentially. It would depend upon a number of things.
Is there an investigation with respect to the two of them?
There was. It is. We completed it.
Why did you conclude neither of them committed a crime?
Because with respect to Ms. Abedin in particular, we didn't have any indication that she had a sense that what she was doing was in violation of the law. Couldn't prove any sort of criminal intent. Really, the central problem we had with the whole email investigation was proving that people knew, the Secretary and others knew that they were doing that they were communicating about classified information in a way that they shouldn't be, and proving that they had some sense that they were doing something unlawful. That was our burden, and we weren't able to meet it.
So she thought it was okay to send her husband the information?
Well, I don't want to get too much into what she thought. We could not prove that the people sending the information, either in that case or in the other case with the Secretary, were acting with any kind of mens rea, with any kind of criminal intent.
Assume for a second, again, I'm not a United States Senator. I'm working for a presidential campaign, and I'm contacted by a Russian agent. And he just wants to talk about the campaign in general and strategy. Am I committing a crime?
Harder to answer. And one, I probably don't want to answer even in a hypothetical, given the work that we're doing.
All right, well, let me try it this way. Let's assume that I'm not a United States Senator and I'm working for a presidential campaign. And I'm contacted by a Russian agent who says, I've got some hacked emails here and I want to visit with you about them. Am I committing a crime?
Yeah, also, Senator, I think I should resist answering that hypothetical.
Okay. Can you explain to me, not the law, but just in your personal opinion, when interrogation techniques become torture?
You mean not the law?
That's right.
There is a statute that defines torture in the United States. And so that, as a lawyer and as a member of a law enforcement organization, that's where I would start, that the definition of torture is laid out in American statutes. I'm not sure I understand what you mean beyond that.
I'm just asking your personal opinion about what you think constitutes torture, where you personally would draw the line, drawing on your substantial experience.
I'd say in general, any conduct that involves the intentional infliction of physical pain or discomfort in order to obtain information is, in the colloquial sense, torture. Okay. May not be torture under the statute, which Congress chose to define at a fairly high level, but as a human being and a FBI director, I consider the infliction of physical pain and discomfort to be, by and large, colloquially torture.
Any kind of physical pain or discomfort? Suppose you just serve someone bad food.
Well, again, tricky for us because the FBI is very careful never to intentionally inflict physical pain or discomfort of any sort to try and question somebody. So
Understand?
I'd say, yeah, that's conduct you should stay way clear of.
Mr. Director,
It's also ineffective, frankly, but that's a whole other deal.
Sure. Do you think it is possible from a law enforcement perspective to properly vet a non-American, non-citizen, I should say, coming to the United States from a conflict area such as Syria?
It's difficult to do it perfectly, and I have concerns about the ability to vet people coming from areas where we have no relationship on the ground with the government there. And so I suppose it's possible to do it reasonably. There's a number of tools you could bring to bear, but there are always risks associated with that.
I mean, how do you do it? You can't call the Chamber of Commerce in Syria. How do you do it?
Well, and we do it now. We query the holdings of the entire American intelligence community to see if any, what we call selectors, phone numbers, emails, addresses associated with that person have ever shown up anywhere in the world in our holdings. That's a pretty good way to do it. Getting into the person's social media to see what they have there is another pretty good way to do it. The way we rely on, in most cases, is the host government will have information about them.
Yes,
and even where the host government...
looking up my article here. Go ahead.
Yeah, and in Iraq, we had a United States military presence for many years and collected a whole lot of biometrics, so we can query that to see if the person's fingerprints ever showed up.
Can I stop you for one moment? I got 10 seconds.
Sure, I'm sorry.
How about Yemen?
Similarly difficult.
I yield back my 3 seconds, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator